Well, let's call this meeting to order. It's 7:06. Welcome to the HRC meeting. A couple of housekeeping. Oh, first I have to do attendance, I guess. We have Elizabeth is here. I am here. Sherry, you are here.
Yes.
Nicole.
Yes.
Teresa.
Here.
Daniela.
Here.
And we also have our liaison, Yana, and a couple members of the public. Well, Levon is here. Do you say your name, Levon?
That's correct.
Levon is here to speak from the Disability Commission, the Commission on Disability Issues. And Leanne, welcome to our meeting.
Hi, thanks for letting me
Yeah.
buzz in.
Oh, you're welcome. Anytime. What was I going to say? So a couple quick housekeeping things. The meeting is being recorded and the closed caption function is available. If anybody would like to use closed captioning, you click on the closed captioning button at the bottom of the Zoom window. And just as a result, please be mindful of not talking over people because the closed captioning gets very garbled and confused. So that's it for that. I would love to check in quickly and hear from each of you how you are doing. Maybe we could do, if your mood was the weather, what weather would you be? And I can start, which is, what weather would I be? I think I would be some kind of foggy sunset where it's sort of like pretty and a little relaxing, but also like the weather is changing. You know, you can tell that there's a change coming. How about you, Elizabeth?
I'm going to say that I am a sunset on a clear day. It definitely feels like I'm hitting the end of the day. But I actually work part-time, and so I am off. I am like furloughed for a full week once a month and work full-time the other weeks. And so this is a furlough week. And so I have been reading novels all day, and that's what I'm doing tomorrow. And so pretty clear.
Would you choose? Yeah, we can each pass it to a person.
Nicole, it's good to see you.
Okay, so I would say that I am at the top of the roller coaster. It's sunny going up, but then when it gets to the top, it's like raining and going crazy. And I'm like, get me off. And as soon as I get to the bottom, then it's at clear sky. That's how I feel my day is going today.
Nicole, do you want to pick someone?
I'll do Levon, if you want to.
Yep. No, I'll share. I keep thinking about a rainbow. So I think I'm going to say I'm a rainbow today. I just feel like I'm a teacher, so I just went back to school and it's been kind of stormy, but things are starting to look up. So the rainbow is starting to come out. And how about Leanne?
Oh, thanks. I would say like a sunny morning. Yeah, happy to be here. So I'll pass to Daniela.
Thank you. I would say a breezy autumn, like a crisp morning, perhaps a little misty. That's how the wedding planning's going. Teresa?
Yes, so I definitely feel rain. I feel it's refreshing, but it's definitely a little chaotic. So that's how I'm feeling. Sherry?
I'm feeling like I did about a half hour ago as we had dinner in the fading, beautiful sunlight on our back deck. So I'm feeling like a lovely fall, mild fall evening, which it is.
All right. And we will maybe give Yana a reprieve because she said you would not be able to talk much, but so let's see. Thank you for checking in. Thank you for indulging me. The first item on the agenda is public participation. If anybody from the public wants to share, bring up concerns, anything like that. Leanne, I don't know if that is what you are wanting to do. Please feel free to do so.
Yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Benny, for letting me pop on here. I've glad to be a part of the check-in. That was nice. So I could kind of get a little window into the group. But my name's Leanne, and yeah, thanks for letting me just like 60 seconds here. I am with Winchester Hospital, and we are a nonprofit hospital that serves 9 communities, and Wakefield happens to be one of them. We work very closely with Melrose Wakefield. I know that's your other community hospital in the area. So we are actually in a year of our community health needs assessment with the hospital. So that's something that we do every 3 years. Some of you, because you're probably experts in Wakefield in various categories of health, you probably have participated in this process. But one of the pieces of the community health needs assessment is community engagement. And I'm kind of helping identify some groups that may have a slant on community health needs that we really want to have. So racial justice, equity, human rights, these things are, things that we think as a hospital system are part and parcel to healthy communities. I know your all's mission also talks about healthy relationships. So I think like community connectedness and the understanding that groups like yours have are a valuable one. So I've actually been reaching out to the human rights commissions and committees in all of the 9 towns just to see if members of these groups would be willing to participate in interviews for this process. So, oh, sorry. Hang on, I'm sorry.
Okay, brief pause. Let's see. I don't know if that's a call. Oh, there we go.
I'm so sorry. My partner's in healthcare, and their little beeper for call is right here in the same room as me, and I had to go silence it. I hope it's not an emergency, but I'll be really fast. I would love to put together a little email describing the process of being an interviewee. It really is just like a conversation with, it's not with a hospital, so that it's very confidential. We won't know exactly what you say or what you think or anything like that. It's all confidential information, and it's just I'm really hoping to get your group's take on what the needs of Wakefield residents are. So that can really be anything. It doesn't have to just be health. We fund things related to affordable housing and food security and all different topics that we just really think you all could maybe weigh in on as Wakefield residents and members of this group. So I would love to just put together a little invitation to participate in an interview. A lot of these groups are doing them by Zoom, of course, but as a group. So maybe like if only 4 of you are interested, we could have our consultant host a conversation with you by Zoom to answer 4 or 5 questions about what you think the needs are, how you think community hospitals could show up better in the spaces that you're working in, through grant giving or even internal community hospital services, like what we could be doing to forward the efforts that you're leading as a group, or to better the lives of Wakefield residents in general. So our consultant for the process is John Snow Inc. And the hospital is not a part of the conversation at all. So it's just you all and them. And Benny suggested that it might be good just to jump on and kind of put forth the idea. Maybe not all of you have the time or interest, but we'd love to have some of you if a few of you would be willing, just because we think your perspective is one that we maybe haven't done the best job getting in years past, that kind of equity, human rights lens. And I think that's really important for us. And we'd love to have you join us in the process. So with Benny's permission, I would love to put together an email that could just be forwarded out to the group about that and the way to sort of confirm your interest so that we can go about scheduling a group interview with those of you that are interested. So that's the spiel about Winchester Hospital Community Health Needs Assessment. We are collaborating with Melrose Wakefield on this. So the groups that we host, we share the information with them so that they can say what they're hearing in community, what we're hearing. We often work together on grants. So all of this is kind of simultaneously happening. You might be approached by them as well, but we're collaborating. So that's the spiel. Does anybody have any questions? And then I'll leave you all to your meeting.
I have a quick question, which is, so I, for example, am not like a public health knowledgeable person, you know? And so I guess I feel hesitant. When I got the email, I was like, I can't be in that focus group. I don't know anything about health needs.
Yeah. Yeah, the questions will be things really broad. We talk about things like, what do you think it would take for Wakefield to feel like a healthier community, and how could the hospital show up? A lot of people will say, we don't have as many parks as I want, or I can't really get to public transportation, or housing quality sucks. So it could just be, really across the board, what you see in Wakefield, what you hear, where you think resources should be allocated. It's not just about health. We're really trying to take that broader picture. So I'm sure people will talk about COVID and ways to show up better for COVID. And we'll really get into the nitty gritty of that probably if people want to take it that direction. But a lot of groups really never even bring up health specifically. They'll just talk about kind of quality of life measures and things that we could be doing to support that as a fund, mostly as a funder. A lot of people have ideas of how we could support work in Wakefield.
Other questions?
Some of our other, and somebody said novels, like some of our best interviews have been with librarians who like show up at the interview like, I'm a librarian, I don't have anything to say. And then next year we have a garden at the library because that was their idea for how we could improve things. So that's just one example of.
So is anybody interested in participating in the focus group or whatever it's called, interview? Yeah, Nicole, Elizabeth, loving it. Teresa, look at this.
Awesome. Yay.
I think the email had Daniela also looks like, just raising her hand. The email, had perhaps also gone directly to Maria, who is our former chair, because she sent me an email like, I got this email.
Yeah, I had the wrong contact. Sorry about that.
I'm just saying, in her email to me, she said, I could be a part of this if you want or whatever. So Maria may also be maybe interested. But so feel free, Leanne, to send along, like you said, the email. And then what should people do? Like, should they fill out a thing or something to sign up?
I'll just send a group email and I'll say, just respond, confirm, like they confirm that you want to participate. And then the next step will be our consultant will email you as a group to say, here are some possible dates and times, what works for you. So I just need like an email back from you that says, I'd like to participate.
Cool.
So maybe I could send that to you, Benny, and
you can send it.
I don't know, whatever you think the best.
Yeah, I think that might be the easiest thing because there's no like chat or whatever. People can't really give you their email addresses easily right here.
Yeah.
So you send it to me, I'll send it to everyone, and then they can respond back to you.
Okay, excellent. Well, I will leave you to your meeting. Thank you for your interest. I'm really glad that you all are willing to participate. Another way I'll just share too that we're engaging the Wakefield Boys and Girls Club youth group for a focus group. So that's another Wakefield one. And then we're doing like a town leaders one. But if you guys have other ideas of people we should talk to in Wakefield, we'll be all ears. So I'll send you that email, Benny. And yes, Elizabeth.
I will encourage in general clergy associations across the towns are a good way to get information from people across multiple faith traditions.
Are you with the Unitarian Church? Because your name looks familiar. Okay, I've like been scouring all of the like larger churches with social media and all of this. So I actually was going to reach out. So I see your face.
Then you've seen my email address and you can reach me directly via that. And I can connect you to the Wakefield Clergy Association and probably to some of the other local ones too.
Oh, that's excellent. And if we can't do a direct interview, maybe they would do a survey because it's sort of the same questions. So that would be great.
Awesome.
Okay, thank you for offering that. And I really enjoyed meeting you all. And I won't see you on the interview, but I'll see you in the email thread. And thanks again for your willingness to participate, and Benny for letting me jump on the call.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, see you guys. Thanks.
Bye. All right, next up is Lavon, who is the liaison from the Commission on Disability Issues, which is like new and exciting. So I don't even really know like the background or like how the liaisonship works, but you tell us what you want to tell us.
Sure. Thanks for allowing me to join your meeting tonight. And I'm going to try to attend as many meetings as I can. Benny has my email address So if anyone has any issues that they would like to bring up in relation to people with disabilities, then you can reach out to me, or you can feel free to attend any of our meetings. We meet on the first Monday of every month. So I can get you the invitation, the invite to our meetings through email. What I just really wanted to share with you guys is what we do so that you know what kinds of things you could reach out to our commission on. So we don't really like our name. I'm just going to put that out there. We're trying to change our name, but it requires, it's a big rigmarole to change your name in the town. It has to go through a warrant through the town meeting. So we're currently called the Commission on Disability Issues. We don't like that because it sounds negative. We don't like the word issues at the end of our title. So we are working to change it, but that is the name for now. We advise and assist the town in making sure that they're in compliance with the federal and state disability laws. We also review policies and activities that the town is doing. And think about how they would affect people with disabilities. We provide information, referrals, advocacy, technical assistance to individuals, to businesses, and to organizations. So, for example, we've had families in town that want to have signage put up in their neighborhood because they may have a child that is hard of hearing or autistic, and they want, you know, if they live on a busy street or for whatever reason. And so that's actually, again, another issue that is not easy to come by in town. So they will come to our commission and ask for us to advocate for them to get the signage that they want. We also work with compliance for businesses and kind of just making sure that businesses in town are compliant with the ADA, which is the Americans with Disabilities Act. And we kind of coordinate activities. We are looking to do more events to kind of let the town know that we're here. We're not very visible right now. And so that's one of our goals this year, is to be more visible, which is why we're sending liaisons out to all the different meetings. And just briefly, some of the other things that we do, we work on accessibility around town. The town got a new building donated to them, and they made it. They're making it into a cultural center. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of that. On I think it's on Albion Street. But we worked with the town engineer in making sure that that building was brought up to code, because it wasn't accessible through the front entrance, and so there was some issues that needed to around mobility that needed to be worked on. We do talk a lot about affordable housing for people with disabilities in town. We do talk about a little bit about education around educating the general public about issues of disabilities, but also the education of students with and without disabilities in town, and how that compares. Let's see. We're working right now with the MBTA to try to get accessibility to the train, which as of right now is not accessible. So we're working on that, and that's a big long-term goal, because that we found out is going to cost a lot of money to do, and the MBTA is not into spending money right now. So, but we're still working on it, and we're working with our state representatives on trying to get more accessibility there. So those are just some of the things that we do, and I feel like your commission and our commission have a lot in common. In particular, as a teacher, as I'm a special educator, and I'm also a parent of 2 children with disabilities, I think a lot about employment of people with disabilities, and I think a lot about the incarceration rates of people with disabilities. And it's just, I see the connection there, and I see the connection between human rights as, thinking that employment is a human right, a universal human right, and the protection from unemployment. So I just see some crossover, and I'm excited to be here, and hope that I can be a resource to your committee, and that you guys maybe will in turn be a resource to our committee as well. So thank you.
Thanks, Lavon. Yeah, go ahead, Sherry.
I had, most of you know, I've been on crutches now for 5 weeks because I fractured my foot and sprained my foot. And I am increasingly a little bit more mobile, and I actually hopped up the steps to the post office, and they do not have a button on their heavy door for people who cannot open the door. There's no handicap button on the post. And now don't federal buildings have to have that?
Yeah, I mean, all federal property is required to come into a compliance with the Americans with Disability Act. There are always grandfathered in buildings and different things. So, but I'm making a note of that, and I'm going to bring that up to our committee, because that's something that we might work on and go into. So that's great to hear stuff like that's exactly the kind of stuff we're looking for.
Yeah, someone came rushing out of the post office. They were in when they saw me standing there, unable to maneuver the door with crutches and open the door for me. I should have been able to push a button like most people.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, they
And
have
not
a
even-
ramp, but they don't have that, the door opener.
All right. Well, I'm going to look into that. Thank you.
Are there things that our commission can do to be a good partner, or like things that you would look to us for or hope for from us?
I mean, it would be great to actually have a liaison to our commission as well, from your commission. I think that'd be really helpful. And, because we do, like I said, there's a lot of overlap there, but I don't know, as things come up, I like I said, I'm going to try to be here and be a resource and as much as I can. And if I don't have information, I'll agree to look into it, just like what Sherry brought up an issue, and I'll look into that and get back to you guys on that.
I am wondering, did you get an email or get contacted at all by our commissioner who's not here right now, Lindsay Averbook? Does that sound familiar to you?
No, the only person who got back to me was yourself. And but I did receive an invitation from Sherry Dalton.
So we have a commissioner who is excited about building partnership around kind of mental health as a human rights issue and stuff like that. And she had reached out to, I think, the Board of Health, and I think also to you all's commission and a couple other people, maybe the substance abuse, what's her name? Catherine Dingra. She had reached out to a couple of different people.
Yeah, now it's ringing a bell. She did reach out, and I did. I'm just checking my email right now. I did get back to her. Her name is Lindsay.
Yeah.
Is it Lindsay Cook?
No, Lindsay Averbook. But in any event, all I'm saying is she's not here right now. I don't know if she would want to be a liaison, but it could be a good connection for you all to make, even if maybe she does, maybe doesn't, or even if she doesn't, to connect anyway.
Yes, I know what you're talking about now, because I do remember her reaching out, and I believe I got back to her, but I don't think. But I'll look. Yes, that would be great. Yeah, that would be great if she is interested. If you want to bring that to her attention, if she is interested, that would be great. And again, we meet on the first Monday of every month. Cool. And she can reach out to me via email, and I can add her to the agenda.
Daniela, I see your hand up.
Yes, hi. So I think that there could be a way for us to partnership with this educational initiative that we're going to put together, where we'll advise on proper terminology and as an example, acronyms, basically making people feel more comfortable about things that may seem stigmatized or not proper content. So I think that's where we could have an overlap. I co-founded an ERG at my company. It's called I'm Able. It's for people living with disabilities, seen and unseen, and their allies. So that's another place where I think we might be able to partner up in, where we create some educational materials there, but I think having another committee look at that, before perhaps we recycle some of it for a part of our educational initiative. But yeah, just throwing that out there.
That sounds great. I wrote down what you were saying. Can you explain more about the I'm Able?
Sure, it's an employee resources group. So it's stems across North America, employees about 27,000. Basically what we do is we advise on business operations and strategic initiatives to be more accommodating to those with disabled, seen and unseen. We just had a massive kickoff event where basically we had a etiquette training, how to act and speak to those with disabilities, seen and unseen, and really trying to bury those stereotypes that a disability has to be physically seen in order for it to be apparent. There are plenty of cases with mental disorders or ADHD, PTSD that are not evident but do impact everyone's day to day. There's also the fact that people with disabilities are the largest minority group, and that's genuinely overlooked. So for such a large company, they have about 58,000 employees worldwide. We are just trying to make everyone seen and feel heard, and advising on, say, the interview process. How do you ask somebody, how can you be fully accommodated? And that could just be a question you ask anyone. So that's just an example. But yeah, so we are advising our senior leaders, but we're also teaching our colleagues, because I think for the most part, everyone wants to be an ally if they're not actively advocating.
So are you saying, Daniela, that like a similar type of like public education thing is like an area where we could work together?
Yeah, I mean, when I was thinking of the educational initiative that we had, in the back of my mind, I was including people with disabilities because they are a minority group. And so, for example, instead of calling people with disabilities like a deaf person, it's proper etiquette to put the human first. So a person with hearing disabilities or person who is deaf, which is uppercase.
I'll just say it depends on the community and on the disability. Anyway, just a quick pointer on that one.
Just a reference on that. We actually have a working title. Danielle and I still haven't connected, but we will. And the working title is The Language of Diversity, and that could include people who are who have ability issues, seen and not seen.
So, other thoughts or reactions, ideas, things to go on this agenda item about liaising, connecting with the Commission on Disability Issues?
I think, Daniela, what you were saying is really interesting, and I think it could actually be a really important area for us to maybe work on together, because one of the issues that we tackled last year was some issues around town meeting, and there was some inflexibility with giving people accommodations to be able to participate in the town meeting. And I just think that some of the inflexibility was related to just people not being educated about what people need in order to participate. And what the initiative you have sounds like something that could be really helpful to the town and is needed. And I am really interested actually in maybe getting some resources from you, or maybe, I don't know, somehow seeing what the materials you have and how the town could use them, or how our commission could use them to maybe help people in town get what they need more easily, because there is some inflexibility. I kind of mentioned it a little bit with the signage for people's homes that want it. It's not actually easy sometimes to get what you need, even though you think it would be. You think people would want people to participate in the town meeting, as many people as possible, but sometimes people just don't understand actually what people do need in order to do that. So I am really interested, and I would love to see how we could help each other out there.
Okay, sure. So I think what I'm hearing is that there's an action item that Sherry, once you and I get together and we start creating this initiative and drafting it out, we loop in and, we connect with Levon, and, we can share materials. We can also get their input to make sure that the people with disabilities community is included in our educational initiative.
And I want to note something that this particular commission did that needs to be pointed out to other town bodies. We requested that all of our meetings have closed captioning, and I don't think all of the other groups on Zoom are doing that. But one of our commissioners indicated that she had some hearing difficulty, and I said, well, why don't we have closed caption? And it's available, but I don't think everyone is using it. So it's just something that you could also suggest to the various other groups in town that they might take advantage of, as long as we're still meeting on Zoom.
That's interesting. I get like a form email from Sherry Dalton every month with the host key, and she says, like, please make sure you do these steps before you begin the meeting, remind everyone it's being recorded, and turn on the closed captioning. So I had assumed that all of the town, like public meetings that are run through the town's Zoom account, had not only had closed captioning available, but that it was kind of like expected / required that the meetings have the closed captioning turned on. The thing that's tricky is the host of the meeting has to enable the closed captioning, or else nobody can access it. So unless the host remembers to do that, then it's like not there, which is sort of a bump in the road. Anyway, sidetrack. Closed captioning is great. Any other stuff on that? Also, welcome Daniel Lieber. So I didn't want to interrupt the conversation, but I saw you come in. So hello, welcome to the meeting.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
Good timing. I actually have been working with the Massachusetts legislature specifically on updates to try and increase accessibility for town meeting. Just to give it the Human Rights Commission a little bit of background, I sent a note off to the Commission on Disability Issues, a copy of a note that went to our moderator and town council. The last 3 town meetings have been effectively inaccessible. The town actually outright refused accommodations for both town meetings in 2020, and for spring town meeting, it was ineffective. And that would, my preliminary discussions have been for November that they're also going to be ineffective, and frankly, working with the state to try to make it more explicitly and overtly open for things such as remote town meeting. Representative town meeting, it's permitted, it is silent.
Daniel, you're breaking up a
So I'm
little bit.
working with our
Connection
legislators
isn't
as well as others to try and improve that. Is that a little?
It's still pretty choppy. Speaking
Yeah.
of accessibility issues, Wi-Fi is an accessibility issue. Sorry, you still there, Daniel? Hmm. Okay, hopefully his,
So,
oh,
sorry.
there you
The issues are my apologies. The to make clear, but no guarantees the time.
Sorry, Daniel, you're still super choppy. It's very hard to hear you, but I'm glad that you brought up that issue about the accessibility. And I don't know, I'm hoping you can,
So hopefully this is a little bit better.
that sounds better. Yeah.
Okay, I've changed networks, gotten off of the local cable. And I'm trying to work with the town to improve accessibility and work with the state legislature to make it more abundantly clear so that we can do things such as Zoom for open town meeting. There's been a reluctance and refusal to do so. The state law is pretty silent on it, although it is explicit for representative town meeting. So we're trying to get some parity there. I view it as much as an accessibility issue as a convenience issue. Actually more of an accessibility issue, because I was not able to get the full experience nor participate in the Springtown meeting due to auditory issues. I was unable to attend both town meetings due to accessibility issues in 2020. The accommodations were refused. And I have already notified the town, I'm requesting full accommodations for November.
That's wild that they refused an accommodation. Like, I can't imagine that it was like that they had grounds to refuse an accommodation, right? Like that it would have been financially onerous or like against their mission, right? Which are the reasons for which you can refuse an accommodation.
They didn't want to deal with it.
I know. Yeah,
Was
exactly.
the short version.
I'm really sorry to hear that. That makes me feel like pretty frustrated.
I understand, and I'm trying to work within the system, and that's part of the reason for attending this meeting is the Human Rights Commission can help advocate for those of us who have particularly hidden disabilities, which are the harder ones to see, oftentimes similarly challenging to address. So, but not hard, and certainly not impossible. And it is very much a human rights issue.
Yeah, I love that, honestly, as an area for our commission and the Commission on Disability Issues to coordinate, because like town meeting also is, I feel like it's here goes the train. Everybody loves the train horn now. Okay. The town meeting is such a like it's an important thing in our town, right? And it's something that the town is proud of. It's something that's kind of like iconic in the life of a New England town. It's a place where important decisions are made, like if you have access to decision-making spaces, right? So that seems like a really central and powerful area for us to do advocacy. And I really appreciate you bringing it to us, Daniel.
Absolutely.
Do you see, it sounds like you've already initiated or been trying to initiate conversations about this with the town. Do you see sort of like next steps or ways that we could be helpful or get involved with that?
Is that directed towards me or is that directed towards one of the liaisons?
I was directing it towards you, and also if other people have like brainstorms or ideas about what comes next, but particularly since you've already kind of like started the conversation, I'm wondering what would be helpful from us.
So the advocacy that this is a real and significant issue, so that the town is hearing it from multiple voices, will be helpful. It's a significant piece for that. And also advocacy to the state representatives that this is a real issue, and particularly town meeting itself has not been addressed by any of the COVID legislation, and in fact has caused an increase in lack of accommodations. So one of the accommodations that, with the way that they've moved town meeting over to the field house, is for people who have either mobility issues or who have accessibility issues. It is not an area that's on public transportation. Whereas when it was held at the Galvin, it was both centralized and available by public transportation. There were buses that ran there. There's nothing that runs to Farm Street. You can't even safely walk from the west side over to Farm Street. And so those types of issues, I think that the town can choose to address. They are making an overt choice not to. So I think that having a body that's giving them a message, particularly if it is something that is voted upon by a body such as the Human Rights Commission, I think can be a really powerful statement that, yes, we want there to be more access. We want there to be more respect. We want people to be more involved. All the things that you had mentioned that are great about town meeting. So that's the way that I would advocate in cooperation with the Commission on Disability Issues, in cooperation with others that can do things about it.
Sherry, I see.
So with that, I will.
I was thinking that if the Disability Commission would write a brief editorial that we could sign on to, and we could send it, at least to begin, to the item, to start raising people's awareness, because I think a lot of people are not aware that this is such a problem, and put it in the item. And several other local, we now have, when I get to my part of the meeting, I will talk about the different places that we can place information and news. And I think that if we educate the public, there will be, I think, an outcry and pressure for the town to be receptive to making appropriate accommodations. But we got to get a lot of people in town talking about it. We might have to get it on a warrant. Town meeting, is it too late to get it on a warrant for town meeting on the 6th?
They just opened the warrant.
Okay.
I don't know what the deadline is.
But I have to say that I have to keep on referring back to the Disability Commission, because this is definitely, this is part of our issue too, but it is at the core of their issues. So
yeah, this is something that we did, that was brought to our attention last year. I believe Daniel came to one of our meetings, and I'm blanking on what the follow-up was with that, but I know we talked about different options for people that have hearing impairment, because that was the issue I think that was directly brought to us. But I'm blanking on what happened with that. But I do know, I do hear that this is still a problem, and I also hear that the meeting not being on public transportation is a big issue. I mean, if that's an issue for people with mobility, and issues with mobility, but also for people that just don't have access to transportation, and that's a problem. And I'm going to bring this to our commission, and we meet in a couple of weeks. So I don't know if we can do anything for the meeting coming up, but I am going to send this as an agenda item.
I'm wondering if there is something that we can vote on to do. So we're meeting right now. Our next meeting is at the beginning of October, and the town meeting is like November. No, am I confusing it? What date is the town meeting?
It's November 6th.
6th. Okay, that's what I thought. Thank you, Sherry. So if we wanted to take some kind of action, whether it's just like as a commission, like as a body, sort of sending an email to the town council chair, or if, like whatever it is that we would like to do, we probably should decide on it now, if possible, rather than waiting till October, because then it's just it's like 3 weeks before the town meeting happens. So 2 ideas that I've heard so far is us as a body sort of putting our voice behind this, which could mean contacting the town council members and the state legislators, and then the one of writing an editorial to raise public awareness. Do people have any like thoughts, considerations, hesitations, anything you want to bring up about those ideas?
There's another person in town that you might want, if you are going to draft something. The ADA coordinator for the town is a man named Bill Renault. And I believe his main job is the town engineer. So he works under the DPW or the Public Works Department. But he also has another job, which is this ADA coordinator, and it's his responsibility to make sure that the town is in compliance with the ADA. And I don't know if this falls under that, but it could. And he might be a person to CC on any email or any communication that you send. I can try to find his name right now if you want. How does his spelling and all that?
Yeah, no, I have it. I think I
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, he's on the, I know who he is.
Yeah.
Tell me the spelling? Could you tell me the spelling of his name? Oops.
Oh, for the notes? I think
Yes.
it's, oh.
I believe it's RENAULT. I could be wrong though.
Let's see. What do people think about, like, I could, as the chair of the HRC, send a communication to the the members of the town council, CC, like you said, Bill Renault, CC, what's his name? The town council. Come on, brain. Tom Mullen. Whoever might be relevant, stating, more or less, the Human Rights Commission believes that disability access for folks with disabilities is a human right. Access to like our democracy and town spaces is a human right. Something, something, something. you know, we want to see the town of Wakefield taking action to make town meeting an accessible space for everybody in our community, something along those lines. Like, what would people think if I sent an email like that?
I think
Sounds
that's
good to me.
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's take a vote. Let's make it official. Okay. So that's my proposal.
you want to state a motion?
Yeah, I move. Am I allowed to do it? This shows you how much I-
Actually, the chair can't.
That's what I thought. That's what I
That's
thought.
right, chair can. Okay.
Oh, Elizabeth looks so excited.
Okay, Elizabeth will make the motion.
I was gonna say, I move that we vote on Benny's proposal, and I don't remember all of the language she used, so that's what I'm calling it.
Okay. Move to vote on the proposal to draft a communication to the town council regarding accessibility issues relevant to town meeting, with copies sent to Tom Mullen, Town Council, and Bill Renault, ADA Coordinator for the town. Does that sound like I got it all?
Sounds great.
Okay, I'm going to read it back just so you can help me again. Okay, here we go. There's a motion to vote on a proposal to draft a communication to the town council, to a proposal for the chair or the WHRC chair to draft a communication to the town council regarding accessibility issues relative to the town meeting location, with copies sent to Bill Mullen and Tom Mullen and Bill Renault.
I would say it's not just the town meeting location, like if there's like other aspects to the meeting as well. So maybe just like take out location.
Okay, to town meeting,
Yeah.
okay. Those are
Town
two.
meeting accessibility.
Well, I have it regarding accessibility issues relative to the town meeting, with copies sent to Tom Mullen and Bill Renault.
Sounds great to me.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay. Any discussion? Is that how that works? No, it was a motion to vote. Okay, thank you.
Yes.
Elizabeth,
Yes.
Nicole,
Yes.
Daniela,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
and I'm a yes as well. Fantastic. The other idea that came up was about a editorial. Do we want to take that up or think about that? Or I know that Sherry, your suggestion was that the Disability Commission write the editorial, but I don't know. We can't exactly tell them to do it, so.
I think that we should probably co-sign it. I think that would make more sense if we could co-sign an editorial. But I was asking if the Disability Commission perhaps could write it for us.
I could reach out to the members and find out. What would you want me to ask them to write?
Well, maybe it would help if they saw what Benny writes and turn that maybe into an editorial that we can co-sign.
We can also like either whoever it is who might be able to come to your meeting on the 4th or whatever day that is. You know, I appreciate that this might be a thing that you would want to talk with the commission about. So that might have to happen in the meeting, you know, but either myself or if there's somebody else who wants to make that meeting or whatever, we could try to figure it out and put it on, if it's possible to put it on. Are you the chair? Who's the chair of the disability? No, it's
It's Marie.
Oh,
Marie Raj.
cool.
I'm the secretary. And Lorna Davidson Conley, they co-chair it. Marie Raj and Lorna David, it's either Conley Davidson or David Conley. And I'm just checking to make sure when our next meeting is the 4th, yes. October 4th at 7
Well,
o'clock.
Let me see, October 4th. At what time?
At 7 o'clock.
So I'm happy to come to that meeting. And if it's possible, like, should I contact one of them to see if I can like get myself on the agenda for that, or what's the best?
I can reach out to them.
Okay.
And I will CC you on the email so that we're all on it together.
That sounds great.
Okay.
Hello, Maria. Welcome to our meeting.
Thank you. Hi, everybody.
We're just having conversation. Daniel brought to us an issue around accessibility of the town meeting for folks who have disabilities. And it's very convenient that Lavan is here as the first time that she's able to come and join us as our liaison from the Commission on Disability Issues. So we were talking about how the HRC and the Commission on Disability Issues could like partner in advocating around making town meeting a more accessible space.
Great. Nice to see you, Lavon.
Okay, any other thoughts or things to wrap up this piece, this agenda item? Or it's not really an agenda item, but this conversation? Great. Well, thank you again, Daniel. This, I think, has raised an important issue, and hopefully we can be helpful. Okay, next up on the agenda, approval of the minutes. Okay, exciting times. Are there any changes? Let's do our like HRC commission meeting from last month. Are there any changes or updates or anything to the August 17th HRC meeting minutes?
I did not receive any suggestions for changes from anyone on this group of minutes.
All right.
So sorry, I'm so antsy here. I can't get comfortable.
Yeah. Okay. Well, if there are no changes, we should vote to approve the minutes. So for the August 17th general meeting minutes, I'm going to go around for approval. Elizabeth.
We need a motion.
Oh yeah, I forgot.
So moved.
Thank you.
Seconded.
Thank you. Okay, great. Now, Elizabeth, how do you vote?
Yes.
Nicole,
Yes.
Daniela,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Maria.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, everybody. The Indigenous Peoples Day Subcommittee has had 2 meetings, and I believe from what Sherry Dalton told me, we can vote on them both at once. I did receive, thank you, Maria, your update. I had misspelled the Baird family's name in the meeting minutes, so I corrected that. Nicole, did you have any changes that you wanted to see made to the minutes for those 2 meetings?
No, they looked fine to me.
Okay, great. Do you want to make a motion for us to vote on them?
Oh yeah. Let me come back. I'm sorry I have to keep getting off of screen because I just have to keep getting water. I'm sweating like crazy. Anyway, I'd like to move that we accept the minutes from our subcommittee meeting.
And
Second.
oh, great. So you and I, Nicole, I think are the only people to vote on it because we're the only members of the oh no, Daniela, sorry. I don't mean to make you invisible, Daniela. You're here too.
It's okay.
Do you have any changes to the minutes?
No, they were right on point.
Okay, great. So then, Nicole, what is your vote?
Yes.
Great. Daniela?
Yes.
I also vote yes. And the last one is the Hispanic Heritage Month Planning Subcommittee from September 14th. So I don't know who's on that. It's Teresa and Maria.
Sherry.
And me.
Okay, great.
I think the
I moved
names are
to,
all at the top of the page, yeah.
What?
It's Maria, myself, and Teresa.
Yep.
So I move to approve the minutes from September 14th.
I second that.
Fantastic. So Teresa, what is your vote?
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Maria.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. Next, we have the social media response proposal. So, okay, after last month's meeting, I tried to, sorry, was somebody saying something? Okay, I thought I was interrupting someone. After last month's meeting, I tried to kind of summarize what we had been saying in order to streamline whatever conversation we're going to have next. Because it seemed like we were kind of honing in on it. So I want to hear from people. I sent out the proposal with the meeting packet. Have people had a chance to look at it?
I'm bad.
It's like there's actually not a lot of content. I have a special skill in life of filling up an entire page with very little actual stuff that gets said there. So thank you to my many years of higher education for building that skill. Basically what it says is we would like to have a practice of responding to social media posts with 3 goals. Now I have to actually find where it says it on here. The goal of enhancing relationships with community members, promoting learning, and intervening in instances of harm to show solidarity with marginalized people and communities. So that we would like when we have the capacity and bandwidth to do so, that we would respond to comments made in our social media page, on our Facebook page, and comments made to posts that we share, that the HRC has shared with other pages or groups, in order to uphold those 3 goals of relationship building, education, and intervening in harm. So, and then there's like some other stuff. I basically like quote the mission statement and stuff on there. I would love to hear from people like what your thoughts are on this. Did I capture the direction that the commission was going in? Do you think that there's anything missing, anything that's off? Just like, tell me what your thoughts are.
So one thought that I had is it might be worth including some language. I know everyone in this group, but like if we're going to have this as an ongoing policy, to have some language that I know you talk about on other pages where we put our posts. So not to making sure that people aren't responding from the viewpoint or from of the WHRC for posts that we have not responded to. So if it's a completely unrelated post that someone says, and one of us wanted to comment, that we comment from our own personal and not, as a member of the WHRC, I think blah, blah, et cetera, et cetera. So maybe just having some careful language around that we're only responding to posts where it's on our actual page or something that we have posted.
Yeah, tell me. So hold on, I want to see it. Because I tried to write that in here, but maybe I didn't find enough point on it. You will respond to comments on our social media posts, both on our page and when there's capacity to do so on other groups' pages where we share our posts.
Yes. And
that captures it.
Yeah, I didn't know if we needed to like take the extra step of saying something along the lines of members of the WHRC will not respond to posts speaking as the WHRC where the original post is not from the WHRC. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay, cool. That's a great suggestion. Daniela, I see you. Go ahead.
Yes, I read it and I felt, thank you, Maria, for bringing that up. But when I read it, I thought that you captured, at least from what my perspective was, where we were trying to get it at the last meeting. I guess the next step slash question is, would that next step be to write that language, that standardized language? Okay.
Oh, that's a great question. I'm not nodding to say yes. I'm nodding to say yes. Good question. Because I was thinking about that when I was writing this, because we had talked about the boilerplate and I wasn't sure. I was just picturing the breadth of different things that could warrant a response and how to really capture it in a boilerplate. The boilerplate would basically be like, the WHRC would like to share the following information, but then the actual content would be like totally blank. Anyway, so it doesn't mean we shouldn't do a boilerplate. I was just playing through in my mind how it might be difficult to write one, but I think it's something for us to discuss.
Yeah, I think we're on the same page on that point then.
Other thoughts and responses or things to change, include anything?
Good job.
I wasn't sure, so I actually didn't write policy on this. At first I was like, social media response policy. And then I thought to myself, what does it mean? Like, I remember there used to be a time where we would vote to include something in our bylaws, but then like there was other proposals that were like not quite at the level of the bylaws. Like, I'm just not sure what, in terms of like official documents that we are adopting, like how it really works. I don't know if you have any insight into that, Maria.
So yeah, when our policies and procedures were kind of used as kind of a template that the town council is planning to try and model with the other groups in town, there was a part of that, including the boilerplate language that we use to respond to incidents, that we are still in control of. So we can have we can't change the policies and procedures because those are now under the purview of the town council and subject to approval by the town council. But I think this could be something that falls under that we categorize with the boilerplate language when we're responding to incidents in town.
Okay, so we can adopt a policy that doesn't have to go through them.
I believe so. I mean, if you want to check, or if you want me to check before we vote on it, we can check into it and then put it off until next month.
Maybe it's smart.
Okay,
I should have checked on that before we had this meeting so we could just vote on it now, but I didn't really think all the way through.
that's okay. Yeah, do you want me to do that or do you want to do it?
I'm happy to do it.
Okay.
Let me find my to-do list here. Who do you think I should contact? Like, should I talk to Julie? Should I talk to Tom?
I would reach out to Tom Mullen first and just double check with him. And he may send you to either Steve Mayo or Julie, but I would start with him.
Okay. Well, then perhaps we don't have to vote on it now, but are there anything else on the topic of this proposal? Cool. One thing I didn't put in there, which I figure we can just like figure out and it doesn't need to be codified, is like who responds. Is it just like whoever happens to see it? Do we have is it one of our administrators, the Facebook administrators who's kind of like tasked with this thing? So let's talk about that next time when we get to voting on this, kind of figure out procedurally like who actually does it. How do we do this thing? Cool. Thanks, everybody. Next up, Indigenous Peoples Day Subcommittee report back. We didn't actually talk about who would report back. Who wants to share what we've been doing? Maybe someone who's not me, because I'm talking a lot.
Daniela, do you don't want to? Oh, quiet. Well, I'll just do like a little part and then I guess Daniela can finish. Right now we met twice and we have a lot of great ideas and we're trying to just hone in on maybe just a few. But one of the main ones is we're going to continue some book readings, probably starting from the younger age all the way up to the adults. We are looking to maybe involve someone from the Baird family, but we don't know yet. We have to contact them. We have some emails out right now. That's all from me.
I can take it from here. We were talking about joining with, oh, I guess this is one thing we might need to get a download from, perhaps from you, Benny, about joining with the Italian Americans for Indigenous Peoples Day. And there's currently a petition or some sort of form that we could sign and we can promote it. You know, Wakefield historically has had quite a large population of Italian Americans. So I think this might be relevant for us to get involved with. And other areas that we were looking at are suggested readings. And so we're going to be looking at a few books and promoting on social media and at the library, other mediums, different reading levels of books. So one for, I believe, elementary, one for middle school, and perhaps have a reading of some sorts. And then either in the immediate future, begin working on it, or for the long-term haul, so that way maybe it goes into effect before IDP next year. There's something that's called a land acknowledgement. It's basically a formal way of the town stating that they are aware whose land that they are on, and that although there was an original tribe, there may be a tribe that took over. So that land acknowledgement would even encompass that history that has sort of been overridden and overlooked. And there, I believe, a part of some ideas is just educating on the proper representation of Native Americans that are of our area. So the infamous logo with the headdress is actually not native to tribes that are from this location. It's actually from closer to the central or the western, I believe. We've had a someone who has a degree in Native American studies pop in and blow our minds with how much he knows. So it's been great to have that insight. And I've been trying to get a Native American friend of mine to join in. So hopefully maybe she can help read or, get involved, if not this year, then maybe next year. And she is somewhat local to Wakefield. She's from a town about 20 minutes away from here. I think I covered everything.
Yeah, so we're sort of still formulating our plans. I went to the Italian Americans for Indigenous Peoples Day community networking event, which was great. It was like a bunch of different towns and they all shared about what their Indigenous Peoples Day celebrations are going to be, which was like pretty mind-blowing, like definitely made me feel like Wakefield could step up our game. But I got some like great ideas, some connected with some good like resources and people. So we're working on it. Those are some things that are going on with the Indigenous Peoples Day subcommittee planning process. Oh, I had a question, which is, so when I was at that meeting, there were a couple of folks from some Native American advocacy groups saying like one of the really big things that is like super important to them for us to be doing during our Indigenous Peoples' Day celebration, whatever it may be, is to promote the Massachusetts legislative agenda, which I'm assuming is a thing we can do, right? Like we can take a political stance on like legislation. Oh yeah, we endorsed it last year. Okay, yeah, great. I was thinking about that. My plan is to bring it for next meeting. I didn't have enough time to add it to the agenda for this meeting of so that everyone can look at the Mass Indigenous legislative agenda to see if the HRC wants to endorse that like formally as a body. Yeah, Nicole.
Along with that, I know the school committee, I think, is meeting next week, and the logo is back on the thing about the policy. So I think that I know we wrote a statement, and I'm not sure if you want to send the statement again to the school committee or if somebody wants to read it at that meeting, because there's some pushback. They want to re-vote on it, and I think we should make our stance as a HRC in the town known.
Yeah, we can easily resend the statement that we made during the community forum last year. Maybe with like a tweak, like at that time they hadn't yet voted on it. So maybe changing the language to say like, we support maintaining this policy or something like that. But I think that would be easy to do.
Because I'm sorry, and I'm not trying to do, but I'm not sure if everyone knows that at the football game, they were dressed in Native American regalia. A student was. It's slowly been addressed at the school, but not, I don't think, to the extent that it needs to be, but it did happen. I was there. I saw with my own two eyes that they're doing that, and staff were there, and nothing was discussed. He remained in that for the entirety of the game.
And this is, I'm assuming, a non-native student.
Non-native student, right?
I had not heard about that.
Yeah, very disappointing. But
is this something that warrants the HRC using our boilerplate statement to say like, this is an instance of?
I'm not really. I don't know. I would tread carefully, only because it is a student. It was a student, and they did. I mean, I wrote a letter as a parent, and other people did too. And I'm hoping that it's being addressed. I guess I would just wait a moment and see what happens, even at the school committee, and then maybe we say something. I feel like I don't want to single out the child and we receive like the backlash of whatever. So
yeah, it would make sense to me for our focus to be on the school's response. Yeah, that's a great point. Thank you, Nicole. Man.
And I don't know if it's any relation to, us reaching out and promoting the school to respond in any sort of way, but do we have access to the student code? Because in my school, we had a dress code. Females couldn't wear spaghetti straps. So if they can dictate that, then I would make the argument that they would be able to dictate certain conduct in the code that is not, offensive to any sort of groups or discriminatory groups or some sort of wording around that. So I don't know if is that public? Is something like that public, or do parents see that? Is that something that like kids bring home and then kind of goes in their recycling bin?
I'm sure that it's probably on the school website.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just mean that there might be something already in there. It could be relevant.
So I'm happy to send that statement over to the school committee chair. When, do you know when the meeting is, Nicole?
Is it Tuesday or Wednesday? It's sometime next week. I can't, I'm sorry, I'm
No, that's
drawing
fine.
a
I was
blank.
thinking if it was next week or this week or what.
It's, I believe it's next week. I was just at a meeting with them yesterday with something else. I can't remember, but
I can look it up.
yeah.
But yeah. Mm. I also have a question. I'm going to wait until after the Hispanic Heritage Month folks give your update, because I have a question about funds from the Cultural Council. Like we can apply for a grant to the Cultural Council. The applications are due in mid-October. And I'm feeling like we have plenty of opportunities right now, depending on like what could be possible. Like if there are actual like performers or speakers that are anywhere in the plans for what we could be wanting to do for either of these months or any other event in the year, we can potentially apply for a cultural council grant. But first, I would love to hear what's going on with the Hispanic Heritage Month Planning Committee.
Who wants to go? You guys want me to start?
Well, I want to start by saying we started way too late. This was a perfect example of the way the HRC has been unfortunately operating in a lot of cases that we have to change, because we're hitting a lot of walls, really hitting a lot of walls. And one of the things we have found out, and this is something that applies to my whole planning and promotion thing, is there are very specific requirements to reserve town space, whether it's a park, gazebo, library, schools, very specific requirements and timeframes and people you have to contact. And we need that information on the document I sent to all of you, so that in planning in the future, we are aware of this. And now, Teresa, you can tell them where we really hit a wall on this.
Well, we're a very enthusiastic group. I think we wanted to have a one-day event, and I think we got very excited about doing something outside in the gazebo, maybe having a food truck and then having like a performer, and things were coming together. But then I had no idea that we needed to let the town know 90 days before if we're planning on using that space. So that was a no. Then also the financial piece came up, right? Because even if you have like a DJ, it's like, I think we came up with like a $300 like amount. And then there's this really great community performer that she has like a social center in East Boston, and she does all sorts of education about all the cultures in Latin America and the dances, and she's really great. And then she also has a fee. So then we're like, okay, so what? We have no money. I was actually able, I heard from some people that were interested in donating the performer and the DJ, which I thought it was great. But then, you know, I bumped into the 90 days thing. So, but then Maria kind of got in touch with the library. So we've been kind of, it's a lot of like moving parts. So yeah, so I agree with Cherry. Like I think for next year, obviously, I would love to make sure that we have some sort of funding. So then at least for all our events, right? So at least we have some money that we can say, okay, we can use that for like a performer here or a speaker here. Or, I mean, I think I'm learning that there's a great resources out there, but they're not cheap.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I mean, everybody, you know, needs to kind of get paid. So it's definitely, I agree. It's definitely like with last minute. I think there's some great people that are very enthusiastic about making it happen. And I'm very excited about that, but I think we need to make sure we have the space. And I don't know, I think the library is sounding like it might be a possibility, but we're still kind of working on it. We only met once.
Mhm.
We are meeting again on Thursday.
Okay. And another problem is we had thought it would be like sort of a real fiesta. And I started checking out sources of like food trucks. And the least expensive option I have gotten was that they require at least $700 worth of proceeds
Right.
before they would even consider this. And then they want a guarantee of things like parking, lighting, tables, electricity, and so on. And it's just too short notice to pull it together. I even thought about how at the Lowell Folk Festival, different churches put out, they always have, the churches have their ethnic food tables. And I was thinking, if push comes to shove, I'll get in touch with a Hispanic congregation somewhere and see if they want to have a fundraiser for us. But because we cannot have it in an outdoor space where that's possible, this might be more like jazz on the plaza, if it's a nice evening, and just have a performance on the plaza and nothing more than that. And the bottom line is we have somebody who's very entertaining for $300. I mean, it's very inexpensive for the quality. And he performs music from the wide range of Spanish-speaking nations. So he's more representative. We need to know if we should go ahead with that. The WHRC has, from the June accounting I received, I haven't gotten one since, has $1,577. Can we spend $300 for one evening, something special for the Hispanic heritage and lessons learned for next year?
So I was gonna say, so I did get somebody who said they would donate that.
Donate the 300.
Mhm.
And
Do we
then
have
what's the additional fee for Veronica Robles?
So she has a whole mariachi band. It's a whole female mariachi band that she brings. And I actually got somebody else who's gonna pay for that.
Wow. Do we have to get town council approval to accept the money to pay for our entertainment? That's the other
So-
thing.
Now, the other thing is if we're not involved in the transaction, if, you know what I mean? Like if she
Even.
comes, doesn't charge us because somebody else paid, do we have to kind of still?
I wouldn't think so. This is not coming from any official capacity, but just like
Mm-mm.
if, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, that's a really good question, because it's basically it's not even it's yeah, it's kind of like a private citizen is
Right.
paying for this musical group and we promote it.
Right.
And we're providing a space. And
Right.
also the library, we had an original date and the library can't accommodate us on that particular date. And now are the entertainers available on those alternative dates? That's the other question.
Right.
Yeah. So we have to, that's what I need to know, exactly the day the library can do it, and then I can tell them.
Yeah.
Mhm. So I guess who do I ask? Do we have to like check with somebody about the donation? Or we don't have to because we're not doing it.
Well, is the library the one taking the responsibility of it and we're just promoting it, or no? So I imagine you have to probably talk to Tom or someone in there, right? In the office, because it still would be like an in-kind donation and we have to get approval that they can even come. Even if they're using the library, if the library is not like the head, I imagine.
Yeah, that's a good point, Nicole. I'll check in with Steve and Tom. I'll send them both an email and just explain kind of what we're envisioning and who would be funding the musicians. So it's the singer, Charlie, I can't remember his last name, and then the mariachi band.
Yeah, that's Veronica.
Okay.
Veronica Robles. She has like a whole female mariachi band.
Okay, and the payment for both of those musical groups would be covered by donations, is that right?
Mhm.
Okay.
That's amazing, first of all. Can I just say, you just like glossed right over that, but like, nice job.
So excited. Now, the other thing, if they're selling music, you probably want to make sure you find out if they're allowed to do that too, because I know Wakefield has all these rules about selling stuff. So,
Oh, like if they have a table or whatever.
Yeah.
Good to know. I mean, so I have a question, which is, we do have all this money, right? It's there to be spent. It's not there to be hoarded. And for example, if there was like a food related, this gets complicated because then like I feel like you have to apply for a permit to the public health department or some kind of stuff. I was just thinking, like, how nice would it be if there was food? Come on.
Yeah, it
I
would've
know.
been-
I don't want to tell you what to do with your celebration, but I'm
Yeah.
just saying, if there's something that involves money, I think we shouldn't be shy about spending the money that we have, you know, within
Okay.
reason.
Well, we can't bring food inside the library, and the library won't even let us sell like flags on the plaza. So it would have to be on the street. Have to get a permit for a food truck sitting outside the library on the street. Make sure they have, you know, electricity and everything else that they say they need. It would be, I think that it would be too complicated and such
Yeah.
short notice I would love to have the food, because we're also thinking about, you know, what time now, this time of the year, it's dark at 7 o'clock,
Right.
you know, and like a night like tonight was fabulous. I mean, it was beautiful, but if we didn't have a nice warm night like tonight, it would definitely have to go inside to the gold room.
Right.
Or maybe we should just consider it a concert that we give in the gold room, a performance.
Yeah, I think for this year, it's probably gonna be just more like a performance. And then I think next year, I would love to see something at the lake, you know, with something more.
A real fiesta, something really.
So, yeah, I think so. I think, and definitely now that we know all that stuff that kind of comes with it.
Yeah. And like I said, this is like the perfect segue even into talking about our planning and promotions and how we do things. We're growing, we're learning, and we got to pull it together better.
Yeah, no, definitely, I agree.
Yeah. I mean, we didn't even have a committee to the end of August, and then people were on vacation, and you know, it's so.
Yeah, no.
Well, I will also say, keeping in mind that pre-pandemic, we did 2 major events a year. That's it. We did the Martin Luther King, 2 in-person events. We did a fair amount of like education stuff online, but in terms of our 2 major events, it was 3, sorry. It was the speaker series in October. It was Martin Luther King, Coretta Scott King Day in January, and it was International Women's Day. So we have not hugely expanded our numbers, but we have blown up in terms of the kind of stuff that we're doing. So I want to extend grace to all of us and just understand that, like, we all say we're not going to take on too much, we're not going to do too much, and then suddenly we're like juggling 15 events a year. It's a lot. And if we need to, I love the idea, believe me, I love the idea of a fiesta on the common with the bandstand and everything like that, but we also need to be realistic about our lives, and we're still in a pandemic, and
right,
there's a lot going on.
Right. And it's the kind of thing where for fall events, we have to form our committees and start meeting in June as soon as we have our new commissioners on board for our fall events. We need to start thinking in terms of 3 to 4 months in advance. Otherwise, it's just, and we, you know, previously, didn't the commission take the summer off at least 1 month? We don't take any time off.
Right.
You know, but in a sense, we sort of did, because everybody's in that mode during the summer of relaxing and seeing, you know, trying to get together with family or taking it a little easier. So anyhow, so we're going to talk about this on Thursday at length, and we will put together some kind of musical program. And I've already sent several Facebook posts to Benny, and I'll send more. Facebook posts, and I'll, you know, and once we have our details, I'll immediately start promoting it. But we have a small committee of excellent people, and we have a community member who's fantastic. She's the one who connected us with these wonderful musicians.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So,
it's great.
So just think, if we had started in June when school was still in session, we might have had more community members we could have, you know, tapped into, but, you know, anyway, so we're going to do something. It's the first year. We'll do something, and it will be fun. It just won't be the full thing.
We're beta testing.
Oh yeah. I mean, next year we're going to have dance lessons.
Oh my
We're going
God.
to be dancing and music and food trucks and, yeah.
Excellent. Thank you for your work on this thing. I know it can be hard to be planning a thing when you don't have enough time to do it. So I appreciate your
Oh, gee.
work on it.
Okay, we'll keep you all posted, but it's going to be coming up right away too. So, I mean, like, like a week away, you know, or so.
know.
Because we don't want to impinge on the indigenous people.
Right, yeah.
And the Hispanic Heritage Month started on the 15th of September. It ends on the 15th of October.
Right.
So we'll see what happens. You know, we may have to do something like on the Wednesday, the 13th of October, you know, really push the envelope a little bit, you know, push it up a bit. Okay, we will get back to you, but we'll have something. And Maria, thank you for bringing this up. I mean, I love this. This is something I would love to celebrate. So we'll see what happens.
Nicole, I saw you, I think, trying to get.
I'm just gonna have to log off. I have to go get my kids. So I will see everybody the next time.
All right, bye, Nicole.
Thank you. Okay. Next up on our list here is the Festival by the Lake is October 2nd, Saturday. The rain date is the following day, the Sunday, the 3rd. What? Elizabeth, you're
I'm just choosing to accept a possibility of rain.
okay.
And rain date is the Sunday?
Yeah, I think so. So we are, you know, we'll have a table at the festival. So this is, you all know, it's like a big craft festival, you know. So there's all the crafts and then there's all like community tables, nonprofits, things like that. So we voted like several months ago, I think in July or something, that we wanted to have a table there. I signed us up. And we'll just have to figure out like who can be at the table, you know? So I will send around, I did it the last time, like I can't remember the name of it, you know, it's like volunteer sign up thing where you can indicate the blocks of time that you're available. And it will be super great if everyone who's able to can like sign up for a block of time. It's a longish event. It's like 10 to, what time is it? Hold on, let me see. It is 10 to 4 is the actual festival. And we would, I assume, have to get there early to set up. So that's like a lot of blocks. That's a lot of hours to cover. So we will see what we can do, but keep an eye out for an email from me with the, like the sign up thing for that.
Yeah. What are we going to have on our table?
So I think that we could potentially have a bunch of cool stuff for Indigenous Peoples Day. Like there's cross promotion that we can do for a bunch of other events for the mass legislative agenda. I'm sure if you guys have materials or stuff that you would like to put out for Hispanic Heritage Month, I think that would be like perfect timing. It would be so good. So we can, it's like a great time to have this festival that we can be promoting these particular like events and
We also have the, oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
We also have the Hate Has No Home Here signs that we can sell.
Oh,
yeah. So I don't know if we want to buy any swag, like for Pride Month, we often have, like we buy stickers and buttons and whatever. Like, I don't know if there's, what's the word? Like similar types of things that we would want to buy for any of the events that we're promoting, or if we want to just do the promotional materials and the Hate Has No Home Here signs. What are people's thoughts?
How about we could have copies of if Daniela and I get together, the language of diversity material, if anyone is interested in picking up copies of that. I don't hear any, oh yes, so I guess no, people don't want that.
I think it's cool. It's a quite, I defer to you two in terms of whether you think you can get it, because that's, you know, it's not far away at the festival. So
Yeah, and my wedding's that week, so it'll be a little bit crazy. But
now, how
I think-
about Teresa? We were going to do something with flags.
Yep, I got
Maybe we just maybe we just, since it's right smack in the middle of Hispanic Heritage Month, maybe we can put together just some materials on Hispanic heritage, even if it's a poster board.
Right, yeah, no,
Okay.
that's a good idea. And I have a bunch of
Okay.
flags. I bought little ones, big ones, like I have the banner with all flags,
Oh,
so.
okay, so we can use that as a way to celebrate Hispanic. See, we have an event for Hispanic Heritage Month at Festival of the Lake. Okay,
We can set them up somehow.
okay.
Danielle, I feel like you were saying something and then you got cut off.
Yeah, I can't come up with an idea right now. I think my mind's just starting to shut down, but I think it would be really awesome for us to have something that's interactive. So if people come up to us, it's not something that, would be a fee if we had like, I don't know, like a spinning wheel of some sort, or like, I'm just trying to think like cornhole or something that kind of brings people over to us and we can get that conversation started. Basically an icebreaker, but also just gaining that interaction, because I think we got a lot of good interaction when we had the flags out. A bunch of kids are literally just running over to us and the parents are like, hi, cool, thanks, glad these are free. And then they would just get talking to us. And, I think just having that interaction, that sort of activity, in which case in that example, it's the kids being able to take the flag and whirl it around and play with it. We could also attract the adults in addition to kids, but basically just be able to say like, hey, this is who we are, this is what we do, this is our information. And if you want to learn about these specific topics, here's more resources, or, this is when we meet, just promoting like if anyone from the public wants to get involved, because I think that we had a lot of residents who appreciated the work that we had done, but they didn't register like, oh, like I could jump in on those meetings and share my ideas. So I'll think on it. I'd love for anyone else, if you think that idea is cool, something that's interactive that we can put together, either something that we can like craft or it's free, or if we have the funds, we can buy it on Amazon or something. Just something that maybe can be reused and repurposed for future tents or tables.
I have a homemade Jeopardy game that's made out of felt, and it's on, I used it to train a board of directors, and we could create a Jeopardy game I'll take the things I have on there, we can put different things on there.
That's awesome. I'm also completely biased because I watch Jeopardy every night.
That's right.
So if anyone else wants to shoot down that idea,
We could have a human rights Jeopardy.
that'd be really cool.
So that sounds like it would take some work to put together. Is there anybody who has the capacity to like come up with the questions and answers and make the materials and whatever?
I have the board, but if somebody comes up with the questions, the answers, I'll create all the little stickers that go on it. So, and I have pins. So what happens, it's real low tech. When somebody sees the question on top, I then roll up the little window and pin it, and there's the answer underneath it.
How many?
And
Sorry.
I think I have it's 6 different categories.
Okay.
5 or 6. I have to go look at it. It's like in my office.
Okay, because that might be something, if there's 6 categories, one person can take a category and send in 5 questions and answers. And it could be something that we scroll through our own page, something that we don't have to reinvent the wheel on this, but also just like, we all come from diverse backgrounds. Maybe there's something that's specific to us or our experience that we can share in that space. So I would at least take like a section of categories and questions. I wouldn't mind doing that.
Yeah, me too. And also one of the
Yeah.
categories could be the HRC, like when was it founded? What, like stuff like that.
That's
You know
cool.
what? Most of you know, I got certified to do training active bystanders. I'm doing the one in Wakefield actually. And I could contribute questions on active bystanders from what my knowledge of that. So
This
we
is
have
so fun, you guys. It would be great if we had little prizes though. So someone gets the answer and then they get like a button or a whatever, some kind of fun thing. I guess we should maybe just order. We have a
do we have any
some
buttons
HRC
left?
buttons. We have HRC buttons, the one that say like
Anyone can
Wakefield.
serve.
Yeah, we have the anyone can serve ones, but I feel like we have a couple still of the ones that are like, I think it just says like Wakefield Human Rights Commission or something. Anyway,
Okay,
I
so we
wonder-
have to think of also some sort of reward.
right. So we could get, it would be nice to get something that's like small, easy to give away, but that we can reuse for future things, you know, not so specific to right now that we would, you
And that
know,
we can get in 10 days.
that we can get in 10 days.
Oh,
I've got
Oh,
anyone has stuff in their house that they're trying to like get rid of. Because I was just thinking like I've got 2 mirrors, like what a random gift that would be.
Elizabeth, I see you trying to say something.
I think that the general HRC buttons would be a great idea. That's like, those are per button, they're pretty inexpensive. That like, we could probably turn around and order in 10 days. We might have to cover like rush shipping, but if we do, I feel like that's not going to be that much. And it's an easy thing that's already created. It's particular to the HRC and it's general enough to use it again.
Maria, do you happen to know, because we've ordered them in the past, but I don't have like the, you know, like the JPEG of the image or whatever. Do you know?
I think I have a JPEG of the image. The other thing is I have all of the WHRC bins. So I want to look in those and see how many buttons we have
some.
already. So yeah, we may have a good number, but I honestly, I haven't looked in them in a few months. So I don't know how many are in there.
So how about this? Can I get a motion for us to buy, I don't know, a bulk number of buttons? I don't know, it's like probably like 250 buttons or something like that.
I have to tell you, my experience with shipping is even when they promise it's going to be there, you're not going to get it. I mean, it's just, I mean, I waited 2 months to get the maps that was supposed to
Yeah.
come in 4 or 5 days.
It's true. Although on average, like I have many things shipped to my house every week and most of them get there on time. So I have hope.
Okay. Okay.
But anyway, so what I was saying was buy a bulk order of generic HRC buttons. If I don't know how much it will cost because I wasn't involved with ordering them the last time. So I can't give you a dollar amount, but would people be okay with buying, I don't even know what it would be, a couple $100 worth of buttons?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I move to motion.
Yeah. You,
Second.
the discussion would be, you just have, when you buy them, you just have to get the bulk cut off. You know, there's a certain point, it gets a little cheaper. It's not worth it usually to just buy 100. They
Right.
usually, you have to buy at least like 250.
Yeah, the number 256 in my mind is like the like order, the number that we order. Anyway, okay, so I have a motion and a second. Elizabeth, what do you think about buying these buttons?
Yes.
Daniela,
She there?
Yes, sorry.
Teresa,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Maria,
Yes.
who would like to be responsible for doing this thing?
Who knows where we've bought them before?
I am
That's
doing
the
a search
question.
as we're, I'm doing a search through my email to try and figure out where we ordered them in the past.
Yeah,
Jenny,
Levon.
I'm gonna head out. Thank you
Yes,
guys
I'm
for
sorry. Our
having
meetings
me.
are like so long. I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. I enjoyed being here and I hope I'll see you again soon in the future.
Yes, I'll
Bye-bye.
see you at your meeting, if not another time. Cool. Maria is looking into it. If you do find the information, Maria, do you want to make the order or do you want to?
Yeah, I can do that.
That would be so great.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll check the bins first also.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Next on the list, the active bystander training is October 6th, 6 to 8:30 in the evening. Due to an unfortunate series of events, I haven't been able to post the event yet because I know, tell me about it. So the Quabbin mediation, their website like broke and they've been trying to get someone to fix it and it's not working. So just today I got from them the event link. So it's been like a whole back and forth, and unfortunately there's been like this like significant delay in getting the event posted. But so I got the link from them today, so I'm going to post it, and then people can actually we can start promoting it, and people can sign up for it. But definitely spread it around to your networks. If you haven't had a chance to take the training yet and you would like to, this is a great opportunity. It's a lovely training, and our very own Sherry will be co-facilitating it.
And the last time I was supposed to do this, the people in the group didn't show up and it got canceled. So I really, really, really want to do this. And I have a wonderful partner and we've been meeting regularly preparing for this. So please.
So I'm planning
talk it up.
I have a question for you, Sherry. I know that they have, I think I'm remembering this correct, that they have a separate training that's geared towards youth, but this one is like more, what would you say is the like age bracket?
No younger than 16, 17.
Okay. Because I'm thinking it could be a good thing to send out to the schools through the principals' newsletters,
Yes.
but maybe just geared more towards the families or older students.
Yes, it definitely would be. I wouldn't, seniors and above, 17. And yeah, it is really geared for a mature group.
But the families, it could certainly be a good way to get the word out.
That's right. That's right. Like if a parent wants to bring their child too, that would be great. I would definitely do that. Are we also going to put it in the newspaper?
Yeah. I mean, I can put it in the newspaper, Facebook, all that stuff.
Okay.
Now that I have the actual like sign up link that people can go to.
Oh, you have that. I just asked Beryl today where the link was.
Yeah,
So
that was the problem. The link was the holdup because their website was broken.
Okay.
So now that I have the link, we can move forward. I'm thinking, I'm trying to remember if I have any stuff like actual language of like describing what the training is that I can, oh yeah, I have it in the old Facebook event. I found the Facebook event from last year. So I'm just going to copy that language. Cool. So next on the agenda is the right to body autonomy, a response to the Texas abortion legislation. So this is you, Daniela. I mean, this is all of us, but you brought this up.
Yes. Hi. So I thought that we should have a stance on this. It does impact women's rights. So I feel like it's definitely in our jurisdiction. With October 2nd in mind, I'm referencing the women's marches all over the nation. It is a little bit last minute, but I figured, maybe we can do like a walk around the lake, which is just way too ambitious right now. But we could say something or, have, a sign that says, talk to me about this topic at the table. Since it is October 2nd, it will be probably top of mind, at least, if people aren't going to the marches, then they might be going locally or doing whatever they can. But yeah, I just felt like that was something that we should speak on. I didn't have exactly specifics of what we should do. But I felt like we really needed to do something or say something.
Daniela, I am with you in terms of your viewpoint, but I'm thinking people who are on the other side will say that they will talk about the human rights of fetuses, and we might get into a real difficult situation with people from the other side who disagree with us. As people who represent the town, I have a feeling this one might be almost too hot for us to handle, potentially. I'm just thinking about, like I said, just even some of the nasty stuff that I've gotten from past events. And this is something even more emotional. I mean, we are all supportive of, well, certainly we're women's rights, but I'm just wondering if this one might be just too hot for us to handle directly. I don't know. What do others think?
Also keep in mind the train's coming. Yeah, I can hear it.
I live right around the corner. It comes through 44 times a day. I wear earplugs. And some of those conductors sit on that horn. Some of them just toot, and other ones sit on that horn through every one of the stations. It's crazy. Okay.
So abortion rights.
Yes, going back to abortion rights, because again, that is a hot potato. I don't know.
Are there other folks who have thoughts about this?
So my hesitation is that given how strong the emotions are in talking about this, and given the fact that we don't have the full board here, I don't want to put out vote on putting up a sign or engaging in a conversation where we don't know that every person on the commission is in agreement. I mean, this law is abhorrent to me. But that's me. And that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone on the commission is on the same page on this. And I'm not making assumptions about anyone here or away. I just want to, it is such a deeply personal discussion, and I don't want to represent the opinion of the group without really knowing the full opinion, without having everyone here to weigh in on whether or not we make a statement. Because like Sherry said, it is a very emotional and a very hot topic.
I'm wondering if, would it be doable to have, for example, at the festival, like if we have a page thing, like we could have I don't know if there already is stuff out there or not, but like a page with a QR code where it's like, check this out for more information or something. That's not necessarily like taking a stance, but is directing people towards like resources where they could learn more or get involved or something like that.
You would have to have both sides. You would have to have the pro-life side as well as, you know, the pro-women's choice side. If you were going to do that, we'd have to be even-handed in that.
Do we have to be specific about abortion? Can it be specific around women's rights in general? You know, so when I was thinking about having, you know, some sort of materials at the table, I wasn't thinking specifically about abortion. I was thinking like the history of women's rights in the US sort of thing. So
the Jeopardy questions.
Yeah. That's not that we're getting this Jeopardy board all set. I'm loving this.
Okay, so I think a couple people want to talk. I see Elizabeth. I feel like maybe Maria, Teresa.
I'm concerned about framing this as a women's issue when people with uteruses who are not women have abortions, need abortions. I don't want to just frame this as women's rights. I also don't want to frame it. I think that like whether we do as a commission is up to the larger group, but I don't feel great about framing it as rights. In the same way I feel okay and very good about framing it as reproductive justice or a broader healthcare conversation, because I think that all of the issues of access and who laws like this impact and who they're designed to impact and who does not have access and who can't leave their own state to access healthcare somewhere else is all part of what's happening. And someone like me, a white woman with like a fair number of people with a lot of financial privilege in her life, would not be impacted by this law if I needed to access an abortion because I could get on a plane and go somewhere else. So I think that like, I do think that this is a good thing for us to be talking about. I do think that reproductive justice is a human rights issue. And I mean, I don't have the like time capacity to like move quickly in a week or so, but I would love to see something framed around reproductive justice and not as a women's rights issue.
So what do? We got to make a decision. It sounds like there's a possibility for something at the table at the Festival by the Lake, but someone would have to be able to either put it together or find it. Like there might be stuff already out there that we could just, use. And I guess, I mean, there's still this question of, is it something that we feel comfortable putting out there as a commission?
Right. So I think if we're going to do it as a commission, I think as Maria said, I think we probably need like the larger group, but I do feel like I agree with what people are saying, that it's like more like a general topic, not to be picking sides or anything. I think the information and the fact that we could give resources, I think it's good. But the other thing is, right, who does what and when do we get that information and what information is good to be able to kind of put our name, not a name, but that we're giving it away. So it's kind of like we're behind those resources. And I think that's the hard part.
Yeah, I think if we were to put anything out, we don't need to reinvent the wheel. I feel like there's I mean, the ACLU has a lot of good stuff related to reproductive justice. I wouldn't be opposed to that, but yeah. I don't know. I'm concerned about the time.
Right.
Yeah.
Elizabeth, go ahead.
Now I'm going to argue against myself, particularly in the like, so as much as I like love this and think this is a good thing, last month when we discussed response to Afghanistan, one of the things that we talked about is that as the Wakefield Human Rights Commission, we're not a large entity and our focus is on the work that we're doing here in Wakefield and work that directly impacts our community. This is something that certainly could directly impact our community, right? If we find in the future that folks need to travel to access healthcare, then like we might be helping people travel to us to access healthcare. But I don't think we're there right now. And I wonder if we might say that like this feels beyond our scope right now because we cannot do everything that we believe in and we are a small group.
Yeah, that's interesting, the parallel with the events in Afghanistan. So I feel like the vibe I'm reading is a lot of like, strong feelings about this topic, but not a lot of backing for sort of incorporating it into our messaging right now. Does that sound accurate?
At the very least, I think our messaging in terms of what we have on the table at Festival by the Lake I'm not opposed to, talking about bringing it up in a different context, but yeah, I think in terms of making sure, like seeing what, do we want to look at it from a reproductive justice standpoint? Do we want to look at it as an access to healthcare standpoint? Trying to figure that message out, and also not having the whole group. I think trying to put something together for Festival by the Lake is too soon.
Is it something we want to bring up at a future meeting to like continue hashing this out, or what? That looks like a maybe.
think so.
Huh?
I would largely be interested in keeping an eye both on like what discussions happen locally that come out of this, right? So if I don't think they would have success, but if someone tries to push something through our legislature, then I think that's something for us to respond to. And also to keep an eye on what advocacy and justice groups in Texas might be asking of other states, and see if there's something that feels appropriate for us to do in there.
This also might be an opportunity, Daniela, in terms of bringing speakers to our meetings, to have someone come to talk about reproductive justice, just to share. And then once we hear from that person, kind of figuring out if we want to do something further with it.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Okay, so that sounds to me like, please reach out to me and ask me to put it on the agenda if you see some of these issues coming up that you want us to talk about, like in future meetings.
Oh,
Oh, Benny, you went on mute.
I went on mute, sorry. I was just saying, how is it possible that our meetings balloon so wildly out of control that it's already 9:12? And we have like 5 more agenda items. Okay. Event planning and promotion template. This is you, Sherry. You want me to share this thing? Hold on, let me find it.
Well, over the course of this meeting, over the course of this meeting, a lot of the things that I had suggested on this calendar have come up, and ideas for enhancing it. This is a living document. It will evolve. Okay, is it in there? Okay, I got to get my minutes out of the way here for a second. Okay, so if you look at the very basic tab, what I try to do, basics. Oh, Benny, can you click on basics?
Yep,
Okay.
I'm there. Do you see it?
Okay, what I try to do is provide and scroll up.
Oh,
Okay. Considering the different timelines that you all prepared for your different events, I tried to create a more comprehensive generic document that everyone can use as guidance. I think we all can agree that, planning ahead 10 to 12 weeks is probably a lot more realistic than giving ourselves only a month to do something major, especially because we have such ambitious plans. I really would like your input. Like I said, I developed this from what I had done previously in concert with the material that you had already prepared. I'm not going to read it to you because it's there. So I broke it up into the pre-event planning and promotions, and then the day of the event, and then post-event, because all good promotions have a post-event, have a follow-up, they have a living history. Can you click on the next one? Resources. This is, again, the area that we are really in need of so much more. For instance, again, who do we contact and how early do we have to contact different people in order to use space that we like to use in town? So I could make a list of different space. And I think we might have already lost some of this information from past commissioners that planned events. And it was never written down. Who did they contact? What did they learn? And we have to create this so that going forward, not only for us, but those who follow us will not have to reinvent this. So I put in here all the different people that you could contact and all the different places that you can post information to try to get attention to our activities, our principles, our cause. And I have to add our Disabilities Commission liaison to this list as well, because I don't have her on here. And with Betty's help, I have schools on here, but if you have more information as a parent that you can add to this, please do. Or do you know any update, you have any updated information you can help us with? Please do. Oh, wait a second, I have the Commission on Disability. I do. I just don't have our liaison. I'll put her on here. And then finally, and these are kind of, I put in the 3 other local newspapers. Like for instance, if we're not getting enough people coming to our tab, we can't have it. But do we want to then send to the other local newspapers as well? To ensure that if we only have 9 people from Wakefield, that enough other slots are filled so those 9 people from Wakefield can have that training. And then finally, and this is something that has been the last one, the other HRCs, that's kind of a blank. We have, again, towns that are bordering us, and some of you have contact people. Please tell me who they are and send their contact information so I can keep on adding to this. And this is something that I would call part of the essentials of our toolkit. We have to put together a toolkit. I've given you some basics of parliamentary procedures. We have an orientation. This is part of our toolkit. Just to make your jobs easier, rather than every time you start working on a new project, going around and saying, oh God, what do I do next? Who do I contact? It should all be here as a reference. And then we have so much else to discuss. Again, please send me your input on this. Look it over, give me more information. I'll keep adding it and expanding it, and we'll have it as our, something that a living document. Excuse me. Again. Okay, Benny, back to you and the rest of the agenda.
Okay. Thanks for putting that together, Sherry. That's a fantastic resource. Okay, physical storage space. I don't know, Maria, if you have any updates.
Yes, I can go through the next 2 things really fast. Steve Mayo said, I told him there's probably 3 or 4 boxes that are maybe like 2 feet by 8, probably 2 feet by 18 inches by 18 inches, I would say, maybe 3 boxes of that. And he said, he could definitely find space for that at town hall. So that is an option if we needed it. Right now, it's all 3 of those boxes are at my house. They're not sitting in the middle of a room somewhere taking up a space. They're in my attic, so I'm fine with them staying there. So in the future, if we did want to put stuff at town hall, Steve Mayo is happy to host that stuff. With the understanding that some of the stuff in it is, we use it at the farmer's market and at Festival by the Lake, like the tablecloth and buttons and everything like that. So if it was at town hall, we would have to get it within town hall hours. So something to keep in mind. Does anyone have any questions about that?
No?
Oh, Sherry, you're muted.
Yeah, can I bring over the big map boards that I have and put that in the storage too for next day API?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll coordinate. We'll figure that out. And then in terms of the electronic storage, I'm happy to do a training about this later, but for some reason, when I went to get into it, it said that I needed permission, which I'm not really sure and why I needed it since I was the one that set it up. So I emailed Todd Bowden, who's the IT person at Town Hall, and I CC'd the WHRC email just earlier this evening to figure out kind of permission. to get on that. Plus at this hour anyway, wouldn't make people go through a training on that. And I know Daniela and I, don't worry, Daniela, I got your email earlier today about trying to work together on that project. And yes, we can definitely wait. So, so yeah, that's kind of where things stand with that.
Fantastic. Okay, I have a couple items not anticipated. One is I found out earlier this week, like late last week sometime, that what are they called? The business association?
The chamber?
The chamber, or maybe Wakefield Main Streets, something like that. They are trying to plan a Wakefield street fair inside the Civic Center, which would be like tables. People could go around and like, I don't know, go to different tables. I think it is a sort of a replacement for / expansion of Wakefield 101. They said that like Wakefield 101 is so popular that they're planning this like similar type of event. So there'd be like lots of nonprofits or other town groups with tables. I wanted to see if we want to have a table. It's the 24th of October.
Oh. Well, we can bring the stuff that we used on October 2nd, I guess.
Yeah, we'll be like more or less ready to go with our various materials, I think.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I think anything we can do to get exposure is good.
Yeah, yeah. That'll be nice.
Okay. Well, I can send around maybe when it's getting closer to the day and a similar like sign up thing. It's 1 to 5 in the afternoon on October 24th. And it's tentative. So I have to contact them. So they said that if enough groups expressed interest, they were going to like put on this thing. So I
Okay.
told them that we probably would be interested and I would get back to them after our meeting today to like confirm. So, let's see. The Cultural Council grants. So this, we would have to apply sometime soon. We have about a month, a little bit less than a month to get the applications in. So I think the application, if we wanted to apply for funds from the Cultural Council, we would have to do it sometime before our next meeting. The applications can be like fairly like loose in detail. Like for example, the last time we applied for one, Pina applied for it, I think. And she basically just said like, we would like to bring a band to our Pride Festival event. So there wasn't specifics of like what band or whatever, but it has to be a cultural thing. So performers, artists, musicians, whatever, all that kind of stuff.
Do we have to specify like dates? Like I know now we have more events, right? We're
right.
organizing all this events. So I think it would be great but then do we have to say we want to do this for this day?
Exactly.
Oh.
I think we do. So I think that probably to have a successful application, it would have to be like, we'd have to describe kind of what we would be using the money for and how. And one thing that's coming up for me is kind of like internal competition on this commission. Like I don't want it to be a thing where it's like, well, the Pride got a special grant, but like API month didn't get a grant, you know what I mean? And so this is like a thing that's on my mind. But it's also a great opportunity to get funding.
One question that I had, Benny, I know that we had one in 2020 and we deferred using it in spring of 2020 because of the onset of the pandemic. We thought about doing it virtual. Did we ever use that?
So I have to say that I am probably at fault here. So we got it deferred and then we weren't going to have a Pride event really, which was what the grant was for. And I contacted them and asked them, would we be allowed to use it on a different event? And they said yes, but I don't think we moved forward with actually like using the money. And I don't know how it works now because now we're in a different fiscal year. So I don't know if we even still have access to that money anymore.
Okay. All right.
So
Yeah, I think we definitely should have funds, but I think it's kind of tricky on how to go about it.
And can you be as general as saying as like during Hispanic Heritage Month 2022, we would like to be able to hire entertainment musicians and dance instructors, and then just that, can we just say during that month, or do we have to give them a specific date?
no, I don't think we have to give a specific date. It would just have to be like clear what type of event we were wanting. This is what I think. I've never done the application, but this is kind of like my guess. It has to be, I believe, for this fiscal year. So something they can pay
Oh.
retroactively back to July 1 through an event of June 30th of 2022.
Right.
Oh, so this is, the application right now is for 2021. It's not going to be for pushed ahead for 2022.
It's for fiscal, what are we now? Fiscal 22,
We're in fiscal 21.
fiscal 21. So yeah, there would not be an expectation that it would be pushed to the next year. That was kind of,
That is unless the town, sometimes towns' calendars are overlapping. They go July to the end of June rather than January to January. I don't know,
no, yeah, that's what I said. It's July to June.
July till June. So if there's something this spring, so
Yeah.
it would be, okay,
Like a Women's International Day or, you know.
yes.
Yeah, AAPI or Pride, any of those. Yeah.
But I think the issue what Benny was saying is like, then we're gonna have that, like, we're gonna hire a band for that event. And then the other events are just gonna be kind of like in the shadows.
You know, and we do have other funds. So if we wanted to spend, but this would be like, a considerable chunk of change. I think last time we got, it was like $500, maybe $500 or $600. So I don't know if you all, I'm happy to put in the application real quick if we want to decide like what we might want to spend the money on. Like Pride is a big thing. Like it's a big event. The last time we actually had a Pride event, it was like a huge event. We wouldn't necessarily have to do a huge event again, but
So there is, this is just one thought. If we wanted to do something for Pride, like a family thing for Pride, there is, I've talked about him in previous meetings, a
Yes.
musician, his name is Alistair Mook. He is in Melrose. He is amazing, amazing, and has done a lot of his music. He got nominated for, I think, 2 Grammys now. His music is incredibly progressive, incredibly inclusive, fun. My kids have gone to his concerts. Like, I mean, if you checked out his website, I like 100% can vouch for him. He does school programs, and some of it's just for the fun and joy of music, and others are kind of with a social justice theme to it. And he has a particular focus. I mean, he does it on anti-racism stuff, but he also has, he's done some work, fundraisers for Melrose Pride and for the LGBTQ community. So I would 100% support writing a grant to bring him, if we wanted to bring him during Pride.
Except Pride Month comes in the next fiscal year,
no, Pride Month is June.
because it's June.
Yeah, but
Because the calendar, the fiscal year calendar ends at the end of May,
Sherry,
doesn't
we
it?
have until the end of June.
Oh, we do, okay,
The fiscal year ends at the end of June.
okay.
So, okay, so that's one idea. It doesn't really resolve this underlying issue though of like, are we undercutting other events? Like I would love to get something for Pride. I would love to get something for like any of these, like,
But I think that's a good idea though, because with Pride, you can include a lot of things. It doesn't, you know what I mean? Like it's not just, I mean, I think it's more of a general event, right? A lot of people are more included. I don't know. That's just my thought.
Yeah, and not everything that we do needs to have, outside entertainment, but I think for Pride Month, that would be,
Especially in the spring.
wonderful.
yeah, that's true.
That would be
Outdoor.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And then we can apply in the next fiscal year to come up with something maybe for the fall, for
Right.
Hispanic heritage,
Right.
Mhm. Elizabeth, what were you gonna say?
Well, Sherry basically just said it. I was going to say, I do think it would be good to have a practice of not repeatedly, and I realized that like if we apply for something for Pride, then it would be a repeated application, but that money didn't get used. But have a practice of not repeatedly applying for funding to support the same communities over and over again. So you know, if we say like, great, if we keep a list of like where our grant funding comes from, and then that lives and that practice gets recommended and that memory gets carried forward by the people who, you know, roll over from one year to the next, I think that would be a good, you know, it feels silly to like create a whole policy around it, but it feels like a good practice.
Yeah, like, so we kind of rotate what event could benefit from the,
Oh, that's a good idea.
We can have a luau for her Pacific Islanders.
So,
I'm all about parties, you know.
okay, so are people okay with me applying for a grant, and I will
Yes.
ask for some money for something for Pride, probably musicians?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Yep.
Okay,
You want help with that, Benny?
sure. I have a long to-do list right at this moment. I'm looking at my action items here.
Yeah, and Benny, your name is on almost everything.
Yes.
Welcome to being chair. But yeah, I'm happy to help.
Yeah, and I mean, especially the information that you have about what's his butt. Cool. Okay, last thing. Speaking of getting our rears in gear with enough lead time to actually do anything, time to make a Martin Luther King Day subcommittee. Except now it's so late that everybody has gone from our meeting. Not everybody, but half of everybody. So I'm wondering what makes sense. It's like around now is probably the time we can be starting to form that committee, especially because Martin Luther King Day is awkward where you have to kind of plan things early because winter break happens right in the middle of right before the event. So you have to have everything planned kind of like before you hit the holidays. But I don't want to cut out anybody who would be interested in joining that subcommittee because they don't happen to be here right this moment. So do you think it's possible to recruit subcommittee members via email? Is that like doing business? Like if I sent an email and I was like, who's interested in being on the MLK subcommittee?
Yeah, I don't think it's a substantive discussion. You're just getting a list. You're not asking what they want to do for MLK. You're just getting a list of names.
Yeah. Cool. Is there anybody here who would be interested in being on the MLK and CSK subcommittee? We rocked the house last year, Teresa. Maria, you're interested?
I'll join again.
Cool. Maria, Teresa?
I'm interested, but I still haven't sorted out what my like time capacity is for this fall because because COVID has, once again messed up all of the way I do life. So I'm interested, but unsure how much capacity I have.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have the same thing going on. I'm trying not to overcommit myself.
Well, I mean, we can start with that. I think that's great. And then I can send an email to the rest of the commission, just making sure that anybody else who is interested in being on on that planning committee has the opportunity to. I think that I will not be on that one again this year. And I want to make sure that everybody feels like ready and successful to start planning. Like if I chaired that subcommittee last year, but if I'm not there, do you all feel like you know where to go and what to do?
I think so.
Awesome. Okay, my dear friends, that was the last thing on the agenda. Are there any other matters not anticipated?
Unfortunately, one. I'm sorry. I am about to distribute the last of the messaging posters of Yana's beautiful artwork. And we need to discuss at the next meeting whether we want to continue that campaign, ask for more artwork. Of course, Yana has to be agreeable to creating it. Or do we want the next campaign to be the language campaign? So for the next meeting, we need to make a decision about the messaging campaign, if it's going to be visual again, or it's going to be language.
Great. I can put that on the agenda for next time. And thank you again to Yana. You're amazing. Your artwork is so great.
Everyone loves it.
Yeah.
you. I think I was talking to diversity leaders. We were thinking of doing other things with it too, so I'm excited to expand that. Like we're thinking of doing T-shirts or something, but we're still like it's on the table, but it's cool to see how far it goes.
Awesome. Okay, shall we review our action list?
Oh, it is long. Okay, let me get up to the top here. Okay, and Benny, everything is yours. Okay, let's see. This is actually not an action item for us, but Leanne Taylor, who works for Winchester Hospital, needs to send an email to you, to Benny, that she will share with the group to figure out who wants to be interviewed.
Yep, and I'll forward that.
Okay, a lot of these things are smaller administrative things.
Yeah.
And then this is something for myself and Daniela, that we can collaborate with the Commission on Disability Issues, using our Language of Diversity program as an educational possibility. I'm not sure what we're going ahead. Action item. A motion was made to vote on the proposal for the WHRC chair to draft a communication to the town council. So the action item is that a town council, a draft will be made to the town council by Benny, CC to Tom Mullen and Bill Renault, alerting them to our concern about accessibility, lack of accessibility at town meetings. And then you're going to go to Benny's going to actually go to that October 4th Commission on Disability Issues. The WHRC social media proposal, we gave several suggestions. They're in the minutes, and Benny's just going to update the proposal, integrating that information. Now, I don't know who's going to do this one. We have a statement from last year about promoting the legislative agenda relative to Indigenous people, and it's supposed to be resent.
Yeah, I'm gonna
to the school committee.
Yeah, I'm gonna send like a link to the material so that we can discuss it next time.
Okay, so we're not. Oh, you're going to resend to the the commission.
This is the one about the HRC endorsing the legislation.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so,
yeah, so that we can
not
vote
sending
next time.
Okay. Okay. So you just get that's a distribution action item. Okay. The whole commission next time is going to review the Mass legislative agenda item on the use of Indigenous people imagery at our next meeting. That's an action item for our next meeting for everybody. Here's something from Maria, action item. She's going to check with Tom Mullen and Steve Mayo about accepting donations to cover the cost of Hispanic Heritage Entertainment. And that's part of our committee work anyway. And Maria also is going to place an order for HRC buttons that we can distribute at the festival on the lake. And here's another action item, one for me, that I am going to work with different people in the committee to revise my handmade Jeopardy game into a human rights Jeopardy game. Let's see. Action item, Maria and Daniela are going to provide some electronic storage training at our next meeting. Benny is going to apply with Maria's assistance for a cultural council grant to be applied to June 2022 Pride Month activities. And Benny's going to send an email just asking for volunteers for the MLK subcommittee. And I think I got it. Like I said, a lot of it's smaller administrative stuff. but we still have quite the ambitious agenda of work that we're doing.
Always.
Always.
Okay. If there is nothing else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to motion.
Second.
All right. Elizabeth, what is your vote on that motion?
Yes.
Daniela,
Yes.
Teresa,
Yes.
Sherry,
Yes.
Maria.
Yes.
I also vote yes. Thank you, everybody. This was long. This was a long meeting. Thank you for your time,
Oh.
your attention.
Bye.
Talk to you all again soon.